get ready for a quick quest guide for the Watchtower Quest, in which the main rewards for completing are access to the Ogre city of Gu'Tanoth, access to the Watchtower teleport spell, 15,250 magic XP, and 4 quest points. There are no quest requirements in order to take on this quest, and in terms of skills you'll need 40 mining, 25 agility, 15 thieving, 14 herblore, and 14 magic. 35 combat is also officially recommended in order to defeat a level 68 ogre that can be safe spotted, and for running past many aggressive enemies including blue dragons. Because of this, while not required, having 43 prayer will make this quest a little bit smoother. When it comes to items, you'll need 1 gold bar, a tinderbox, any pickaxe you can use, some dragon bones, 2 ropes, a Guam Potion unfinished, which can be made by using a Guam leaf on a vial of water, as well as some ground bat bones, which you can make by using a pestle and mortar on some bat bones. You'll also want around 500 coins to more than cover any additional expenses during the quest. Then when it comes to recommended items, you'll want an anti-dragon shield, or if you haven't yet completed Dragon Slayer 1, then you'll instead want an anti-fire potion, as well as a weapon to defeat the level 68 Safespottable ogre. You'll also want a mix of weight reducing and defensive armor, as well as some food to help with both the ogre and with running past many high level aggressive enemies. While you'll want a little bit of food with you at the quest start, I'd also just have a bit more food banked just in case. I'd also suggest having 3 stamina potions to help with all of the running around too. Now let's talk teleports. Most importantly, you'll want a fully charged ring of dueling, which you'll be using quite a bit during this quest. You'll also want 1 Feldip Hills teleport scroll, however if you can't get access to this then it's okay to forego it. On top of this, while not essential, if you have 50 construction and your house is located in Yanil, then you'll want up to 6 optional house teleports, or alternatively you can use Yanil teleports made by using a scroll of redirection from the Nightmare Zone on a house teleport. Also highly optional is up to 3 teleports to any fairy ring, for example Salve Graveyard teleports, provided that you've completed a Fairy Tale Part 2 of course. Note that if you're using fairy rings then don't forget your Draman staff. Finally know that you'll want 4 empty inventory spaces at the quest start too. Now you can begin this quest at the Watchtower northwest of Yanil, and we'll firstly cover getting there. Perhaps the best option is to use the grouping system to teleport to the Nightmare Zone minigame before running west. However, note that this teleport can only be used once every 20 minutes. Another option if you have 50 construction is to use a house or Yanil teleport before running a long ways east and out of Yanil before looping around and going back west to the Watchtower. Alternatively, if you've completed a Fairy Tale Part 2, then you can teleport to any fairy ring and then use it to travel to the CIQ code, before then heading a little south and then east all the way through Yanil before looping around and going back west to the Watchtower. Finally, you can also use a Ring of Dueling to teleport to Castle Wars before running a long ways east all the way to Yanil, then heading through Yanil before looping around and going back west to the Watchtower. After arriving at the Watchtower, you'll want to firstly take the lit candle that's on the middle table of the ground floor. Then head just north of the building, whereby you'll find a trellis on the outer side of the northern wall. Climb up the trellis and then go a tad south and climb up the ladder to reach the top floor of the Watchtower. Now locate Wizard Watchtower, who has the biggest hat and the long beard, and talk to him before firstly asking, "What's the matter?" And after learning that the Watchtower is broken, ask, "So how come the spell doesn't work?" Before then selecting yes to officially begin the Watchtower quest, before continuing through the rest of the chat. Now climb down the ladder in the room, before climbing down another ladder just west to reach the ground floor. From here exit the building and then run north and then head to the most northwestern corner of the area filled with small bushes. Select to search the most northwestern bush in the area to obtain some fingernails. Nails obtained, run back south and then climb up the trellis once again, before climbing up the ladder just south. Then locate and talk to the Wizard Watchtower once again, and after some chatter ask, "What do you suggest I do?" And following this ask, "So what do I do?" and finish off the chat. Next, we need to head to the Ogre camp just west of the Watchtower. If you've completed a Fairy Tale Part 2, then you can travel to any fairy ring, for example by using a South Graveyard teleport and then running northeast, before then using it to travel to the CIQ fairy ring code and then running a tad southwest. Alternatively, with 50 construction, you can use your Yanil or house teleport with your house located in Yanil or your ring of dueling to Castle Wars before running from either of those two starting points. And I'll pop up the travel paths from all of these locations on screen now. After arriving, talk to Og the Ogre wearing the fancy headpiece and say, "I seek the entrance to the City of Ogres," to then be handed Tobin's key. Key in hand, run a little south until you see an island surrounded by water. Go to the island's western side, whereby you'll see a long branched tree. Now use your rope with the branch portion of the long branched tree to then use your rope to swing across. Then after making it onto the island, firstly pick up one of the Jenga berries on the ground, and afterwards locate and talk to Gru. After some chatter say, "Don't eat me, I can help you," and then continue through the chat. Once it finishes, we need to travel to the dungeon sign south of Gu'Tanoth, ideally by using a Feldup Hills teleport scroll before running northwest to just south of the dungeon entrance, where you'll want to pick up the death rune on the ground, before continuing north to the dungeon entrance. Another option with no requirements is to use your Ring of Dueling to teleport to Castle Wars before running south and a little southeast from there, following the path on screen. Don't forget to take a brief detour south to pick up the death rune. Now enter the cave entrance to instantly be transported a very long ways east to a small island. Firstly, locate Gorad a little south, and now it's time to kill him. Simply attack Gorad and fight him head on, or if needed, stand between the small tree and the broken wall, whereby you'll be able to safe spot him with ranged. After Gorad's defeat, you'll obtain an Ogre Tooth. Next, talk to Tobin nearby on the island and firstly say, "I seek entrance to the City of Ogres," before then adding, "I could do something for you," and then continue through the chat. When it finishes, simply talk to Tobin once again and go through the chat to trade him your dragon bones for a Relic Part 3. Afterwards, head a little north on the island and select to open the chest, trading your key for Tobin's gold. Next, use your Ring of Dueling to teleport to Castle Wars before exiting the building east, going a tad south over the bridge, and then going a decent ways further east back to the island where Gru lives. Just like you did before, use your rope on the branch portion of the long branch tree to then swing onto the island. Here chat with Gru and go through the dialogue to be handed a Relic Part 2 and a crystal. Now go to the north of the island and swing on the rope swing to get off it, and then continue north to the small ogre camp before talking to Og. And after some chatter, you'll be given a Relic Part 1. It's now time to return to the Watchtower, either by using the grouping system to teleport to the Nightmare Zone minigame and running west, or if this is on cooldown, then by running southeast into Yanil and running all the way through Yanil and out of its northeastern opening before looping around and running west all the way back to the Watchtower. I know, it's a bit of a punish. After arriving, climb up the ladder on the Watchtower ground floor and then up another ladder to your east, before locating and talking to the Watchtower wizard once again. Go through the chat with him, whereby he'll then assemble and hand you an ogre relic. And once you have the relic, it's now time to travel to Gu'Tanoth's northeastern corner. I'll be using a Ring of Dueling to Castle Wars before running east, then a tad south over the bridge, and then a long ways further east to the city's entrance. However, if you have access to a Yanil teleport or house teleport with your house located in Yanil, then teleporting to it before exiting Yanil west and running southeast is a little bit faster. After arriving, head a little southwest into the city before taking the northwestern path that leads you west to a gate that has 2 guards in front of it. Talk to either of the guards, and after some chatter, thanks to your relic, you'll be allowed into the city and you'll go through the gate. Once inside, go southeast and make your way to the food stall, and then steal from it to obtain a rock cake. Rock cake obtained, head north and then west back to the upper walkway, before going south until you're at the southwestern point of Gu'Tanoth. From here, try to climb over the battlement east, and then chat to the guard before saying, "But I am a friend to ogres," and then continue through the chat. When it ends, talk to the guard again and go through the chat to hand over your rock cake and automatically climb over the battlement east. Then run east across the bridge and then northeast to the broken bridge and then select to jump over the gap before going through the chat with the ogre and saying, "Okay, I'll pay it," to hand over 20 coins to attempt to cross the bridge. Continue attempting to cross the bridge until you make it over. Once you're safely across, head east across another bridge and then talk to a city guard in the area before eventually saying, "I seek passage to the Skavid caves," and then continue through the dialogue where he tells you a riddle you need to solve. When the chat finishes, talk to the city guard again to hand him a death rune and receive a Skavid map. Now we need to retrace our steps, heading west across the bridge before jumping over the gap south. Then run southwest and further west across another bridge and climb over the battlement. Following this, run north all the way to the northwestern corner of Gu'Tanoth and then open the city gate east. Then continue running east and then southeast until you come across another cave entrance just north of another city gate. Ensure that your light source is lit and enter into the cave, and afterwards locate the scared Skavid inside and talk to them. And after some chatter say, Okay, I'm not going to hurt you," and then continue through the chat with the Skavid where he tries to teach you some basic words. Now leave the cave through the exit north and then run north to another cave entrance and then enter into it. Inside, talk to the Skavid and select Cur when you need to give a response and then finish the chat. Afterwards exit the cave and then run a little north and then southwest until you come across another cave. Enter into this cave and once you're inside, chat to the Skavid there and you'll want to respond with "Ah" before finishing off the chat. When it ends, exit the cave and run northwest to yet another cave entrance before entering into it. Inside, chat to the Skavid, and when chat options appear, select IG and then finish off the chat before exiting back out of the cave. Now run a decent ways east, just past the Gu'Tanoth entrance before turning and going south for a while along the side of Gu'Tanoth until you come across another cave. Enter into this cave and inside chat to the Skavid there. When chat options appear, you'll want to respond with nod before finishing off the chat. After the chat ends, exit the cave and run north for a while before then turning and going southwest into Gu'Tanoth, and when the path forks, run south to the southern city gate. Once here, select to open the southern gate, however the guard will stop you. Go through the chat with the guard. Then when it ends, talk to the ogre guard again to hand him the gold bar and go through the gate. Next, run south and then west across the long bridge before entering into the cave. And once you're inside, pick up the cave nightshade in the northeastern corner of the room, which should complete a medium Ardoon achievement diary task. Next, talk to the mad Skavid inside and pay attention to what he says, which will be one of 8 different things that's random for everyone. See what he says, and then I'll pop on screen the correct response depending on what he says. Select the correct response, which will be random for everyone, and go through the chat to be handed a bright pink crystal. Now before leaving the cave, take another nightshade that will have hopefully respawned in the cave by now, though you might need to wait a second for it to respawn. Once you have 2 cave nightshades, leave through the cave exit, and once you're outside, go east across the bridge and then back north to the gate before going through it. Afterwards, run northwest and then further west before going through the other entrance gate, before heading southeast back to the market area and to just outside of the cave around the west of the market. Here, use one of your nightshades on the enclave guards just outside the cave entrance, and after some chatter, a warning will pop up. Select "I'm not scared" to begin a small cutscene whereby the shaman kills a blue dragon, after which you'll end up inside the cave. Now we need to head back to the Watchtower, either by using the grouping system to teleport to the Nightmare Zone minigame and running west, or if this is on cooldown, then by using your teleport option of choice. And I'll pop a range of alternative teleport options up on screen now that you can also use. After arriving at the Watchtower, climb up the ladder on the ground floor before climbing up another ladder east to reach the top floor. Then locate and talk to the Watchtower wizard and go through the chat with him. When it finishes, be very careful not to eat them, and then right click and select to use your Jenga berries on your Guam Potion unfinished to create a dark green vial. Then use your ground bat bones on that dark green vial to create a light yellowy green potion. Once you have this, talk to the Watchtower wizard once again and go through the chat with him, whereby he'll turn your potion into a magic ogre potion. Potion obtained, we now need to head back to the entrance to Gu'Tanoth at its northeastern corner. I suggest using a ring of dueling to castle wars and quickly using the bank chest to grab a little extra food if you're running low, and following this run east, then a tad south over the bridge, and then a long ways further east to the city's entrance. However, if you have access to a Yanil teleport or house teleport with your house located in Yanil, then teleporting to it before exiting Yanil West and then running southeast is a little bit faster. After arriving, run southwest into the city, and then at the fork run northwest and then further west back to the city gate before going through it. Then head southeast back to the market and to the cave entrance that you were at before. Now, just like you did previously, use your cave nightshade on an enclave guard, and then when a warning pops up, select I'm not scared to enter into the cave. Firstly, ensure that auto retaliate is off and that you're wearing your anti-dragon shield or that you've drunk a dose of your anti-fire potion. Then pop on protect from melee if you have access to it. Afterwards, run north and you'll see a large mix of monsters. Importantly though, around the central green sludge pool will be 6 ogre shamans. You'll now need to travel around the sludge pool and use your potion on each of the 6 ogre shamans to dissolve them. Note that there's a small animation that happens with this, and if another monster is attacking you, then all of the attacks will stack until the end of the animation. So just be careful, as you can take quite a bit of damage if you don't have protect from melee. Continue using the potion on all of the shamans, and after you pour it on the 6th and final shaman, you'll obtain another crystal. Following this, go to the western side of the central swamp, whereby you'll find a small path leading to the rock of Dalgroth that sits surrounded by the swampy water. Right click on this rock and select to mine it, and after a short moment this will lead to you obtaining the final crystal. Now we need to head back to the Watchtower, if possible by using the grouping system to teleport to the Nightmare Zone minigame and running west. Alternatively, you can run north and select to enter the cave entrance to exit out of the cave, and from here run north to Yanil before entering into the city and running a long ways east through it, before then looping around and out of the city north and running west all the way back to the Watchtower. Of course, you can also use your teleport option of choice, and I'll pop a range of alternative teleport options up on screen now that you can also use. After arriving at the Watchtower, climb up the ladder on the ground floor, before climbing another ladder east to reach the top floor. Now talk to the Watchtower wizard and go through the chat with him. Then when it finishes, focus on the 4 pillars in the middle of the room. Place the pink crystal on the northeastern pillar. Then place the clear or grey crystal on the southeastern pillar. Afterwards, place the yellow crystal on the southwestern pillar. And finally, place the teal crystal on the northwestern pillar. Once they're all placed, simply pull the lever on the western wall of the room and go through the chat with the wizard before BAM! Quest complete. You'll be awarded access to Gu'Tanoth, access to the Watchtower teleport spell, 15,250 magic XP, and 4 quest points. Afterwards, just be sure to read the spell scroll that you were given, which doing will unlock the Watchtower teleport. Thanks so much for watching, catch you in the next quest.